Do you remember Hotmail? Remember when Hotmail came out a while back? Yeah? You know the story behind Hotmail? It's a kid from India, right? He was finishing high school. He starts his Hotmail campaign. It blows up. It goes crazy. Microsoft is wanting to get out to a new audience, right? They're going to pay like $600 million for a bunch of names, right? Because it's advertising. And Bill Gates is sitting there in the boardroom and says, you know, there must be a cheaper way than $600 million to get these amount of names. He said, what about that kid who started that free email thing? You know, couldn't we just buy his and take all his database? And they said, probably. He said, well, I'm Bill Gates. Go do it. Go talk to him. Okay. So they call the kid, and they fax over an offer. Now here's a high school kid, $100 million to buy his freaking Hotmail. Are you kidding me? The kid says, no thank you. No thank you. I think I can do better. What? You're freaking 19 years old, 18 years old, you know, $100 million, you can do better? Yeah, I think I can do better. An hour later, they fax him a new offer, $200 million. Good or great? Take that. No, thank you. He says, no, I'm not going to do it. 2 hours later, they send him over another offer. Now they're at $300 million. True story. He says no. Back and forth a few more times for a couple more hours till the end of the day. You know what he settled on? I'll tell you later. The point of the story is this. The point of the story is this. He made a lot of money. He made $420 million by selling his idea. Selling what he did. That's exactly the number I said. He made a lot of money. And he went back to his mother. He went back to his mother, and his mother said, that's very nice. But you need to have a backup plan. He said, Mom, $400 million. But maybe you don't understand, but like, I don't have to work the rest of my life. You don't have to work. None of our family, none of my great-grandkids, grandkids don't have to work. I don't know if you understand this. And she said, you should finish school. Really? You should finish school. You need to have a backup plan. Right? Just like every great music band and every great rapper always had, right? Always had a backup plan. The point is, people who very often see themselves as unextraordinary, unexceptional, are the most exceptional people in the entire world. See, I don't care if you have a problem. We all got freaking problems. I don't care if somebody said one day, because I gotta tell you, going through school, I've heard all different things growing up. You know, you hear parents and teachers, they say things sometimes meaningful. They care maybe, but they don't know how to help you. So they'll say things like, well, you know what? Don't worry, you're just a slow reader, or don't worry, you know, you're just not as fast as the other kids, or don't worry, you have a learning disability, so you can't whatever. Or I don't know if any of you guys have heard this. You don't have to raise your hand, but you have ADD, you have ADHD, you have dyslexia, you have freaking whatever they tell you have, and then here, take this pill and you'll be okay. So here they are, these kids, going through hearing these things from their teachers, hearing these things from the parents, and you go through life and you actually make a mistake of believing it. I don't care what you have. A friend of mine, Tony, he's over in Australia, and I remember we were sitting in a little seminar, like doing a course, listening to this guy, and at some point, this guy, he's very successful in business, really successful, about 35 years old, and to give you an idea what he does, I don't know if you even knew this was a possibility for an occupation, but what he does is he buys supermarkets, right, like, Albertsons or, Ralph's or whatever. He buys a supermarket that's failing, it's not doing that well, and he'll turn it around, he'll play with it, he'll reorganize, systemize it and stuff for about 6 months, and then he'll sell it and about double his profits. Pretty cool. Now he might buy the supermarket for say $2 million, $3 million. Then he'll sell it for $5 million. He'll do about 2 of those every year. Is that pretty cool? I don't know, do the math. Can you do it? It's 2 plus 2, $4, $5 million a year? Not bad. So he stands up in this seminar and he goes, I'm really troubled because I don't think I'm successful. And I'm like, you freaking kidding me? You're not successful? Then what am I? I'm nothing, And he says, I don't think I'm successful. And he meant it. In his eyes, he just wasn't successful. No matter how much money he made, he didn't feel like it. And what comes out is he goes, I'm dyslexic. You know, he said, I can't succeed because I have a learning disability. He said, I'm dyslexic, I can't read, and, you know, I'm no good at anything that I do. So the gentleman leading the seminar was a guy named Tony Robbins. You guys ever heard of Tony Robbins before? Anyone? Remember he was on the infomercial? He's got the big hands, the big teeth, right? Yeah, he was in the movie Shallow Hal with Jack Black. Demons be gone, you know, that guy. So he's actually a really cool guy, and he's talking to this person, helping him to transform and change. And he says, you know, my problem is I have dyslexia, and I have a learning disability. I can't learn anything. I can't read. I can't do anything. You know, I can't succeed in life. And he talked to him and said, really? He said, what do you do for a living? He told him he flips supermarkets. You know, maybe you've known someone, an adult in your life that, you know, buys houses and sells them. Well, he buys supermarkets and sells them. And he said, how do you do that? He said, well, I don't know. I just look at things, you know, I see what's possible. I see the potential. You know, I look and I see a supermarket that's not doing well, and I see what could change. I see how we can make it different, how we can make it better right now. And he said, all I do is I just make a decision. Make a decision to change. I make a decision that enough's enough with, you know, that old supermarket. It's dilapidated, it's BS, it's not working, it's not making them any money. It's time for a change. And it's time right now. So he goes and he buys a supermarket, and then he starts to do his work. And Tony asked him, what makes you make that possible? You know, how can you do that? And he said, I don't know, I guess I just see things differently. And he said, really, you see things differently? That's interesting.